Hey, how's it going, guys? I'm back with a video instead of an article here today, and I'm going to be talking about an up-and-coming side deck card, which I think will personally be pretty good. It's pretty specific to the deck, and it's mainly for mirror matches. And if you haven't guessed what it is right now, it is none other than Retort. If for you guys who don't know what it does, I'll just go ahead and read its effect out loud. When your opponent activates a spell or trap card with the same name as one in your graveyard, negate the activation, and then if you do, destroy that card. Then you can add one card with that name from your graveyard to your hand. So essentially, if you have a card that they use in your graveyard, you can use it to negate it and then add that one. So what are the applications of this card? It's mainly for mirror matches, like I said, because you want to be able to have it live as much as possible. Meaning Fire Fist mirror match is going to be pretty good, as well as upcoming when Prophecy gets a lot better. I think Retort will see a lot more play. So what makes it good in the Fire Fist mirror match? Well, for one, with Tenkais, that's a huge thing. Because you get your Tenkais in the grave really early, you play Tenkai, you summon Bear, you pop, and then you have your Tenkai in the grave. Now, when you're in the mirror match, it's going to be a pretty pretty big grind. It's going to be a resource war. So you like being able to stop their Tenkai, stop their search, as well as grabbing one back nets you a huge advantage. Retort, like, it is remotely situational, as like I'll discuss a bit more. I believe it's less situational than people like to think. But when you get it off, it more or less seals the game. It's kind of like the Starlight Road effect. It can be dead, but when you get it off, you're pretty much guaranteed to win that game. I mean, obviously, this is an over exaggeration, and that shouldn't be quoted, but it's a pretty decent rule of thumb. Like, if you get it off, you're in a huge advantage. So the other thing which it doubles up on is you can use it on pretty much any power card, like your three MSTs, your Heavy, your Reborn, your Dark Hole, two Torrentials, two Mirror Forces, all of that. So once you have any of those cards in the graveyard, you no longer have to fear said card. That being said, you're gonna be sitting on Retort for a while if you're only like looking to play around a certain thing. But however, it lets you play a bit more fearlessly. So if you already have a Torrential used or a Mirror Force used, you no longer have to fear either of those. And if they happen to use that and your Retort goes off, you can bet your ass like you're in a huge advantage. The other thing would be with other like side deck cards, you can just recycle through. And if you want to play around MST, you can use your MST quicker and just have more options to play around. I think Retort's a pretty versatile card. It'll probably see a bit more play, especially in like Fire Fist mirror matches, as Fire Fist becomes a really good deck, as we know right now. It's one of the top decks. It can double up in the wind up deck right now. People are playing that, and they're playing Tenkais as well. So if you happen to be playing versus Fire Fist in your wind up deck, you could side that in. It's kind of hard to tell how good that would be, but that could be an option. However, if you're not playing bears in your wind up deck, then more than likely your Tenkai's not getting into the graveyard unless they MST it. But like I said, you can still use it on any staple cards such as MST, Heavy, Dark Hole, Mirror Force, etc. It's just really cool to be able to negate one of those cards without playing something like Bribe. And it's actually gaining you a +1 and recycling those cards instead of netting them advantage. Like, given you can't always predict exactly what you're going to hit, but it is not too far-fetched to say that you will get it live and you'll win some games because of it. It just depends the nature of the tournament and also how close to a similar build you think you're playing against your opponent. If you're playing a pretty standard Fire Fist build, it wouldn't be too terrible to side some of these. It's a pretty good card. And then also with the upcoming sets, this is going to see a lot of CM Prophecy. That's where I think this will become a really good side deck card. I'm not exactly sure everything that Prophecy does, but I know that they all go through their Searcher card. I forgot the name of it, but the spellbook was searches for any spellbook, and then they have the other one which copies one in the graveyard, so it just copies the Searcher. And you essentially just cycle through all your spellbooks, and that gets spells in the grave really, really fast. So when you're playing in the Prophecy Mirror match, you're pretty much always going to have this card live, And then with that Judgment card, that's also going to be really good, which is like a +7, everyone seems to say. So being able to have more outs to your opponent's prophecy cards in the prophecy mirror match is going to be pretty clutch. It might come down to like who can get those off first and have a retort. It's hard to say how the prophecy match is going to play out, but I definitely think retort will have some say in that. It could also be cool in matches such as Heroes. That's definitely another application. Having your E-Calls and your Rhoda and your Sparks and your Hero Blasts, that's definitely another mirror match where it could be really, really useful. Especially in this one, because this one is probably the biggest one in terms of having to battle out resources and more of a grind, where a +1 is that much more relevant. Now, we also have to consider Heroes isn't that big of a deck, but if you are playing Heroes, this would be something like you'd want to side in case you play against the mirror match. And also things such as like Warriors or Noble Knights. Basically, most sort of mirror matches, you'd want to play them again. Like this would be a card you could definitely side. Even if your deck isn't like terribly played to begin with, you still want to prepare for everything possible. I wouldn't play it in water. Water is definitely not that great of an application. Obviously, it's a monster-based deck. Even if you get off a salvage or a sphere, you're going to be sitting on it dead most of the time. So, like I said, the best decks to be playing it in would be Fire Fist and Prophecy, especially after the new set comes out. I think it's a really cool card to play. It nets you some quick advantage, and it could help seal some duels. If you haven't picked up your playset yet, I would definitely consider doing that before it goes up. It's already gotten up from like $3. It's like at $10 right now. So pick up a playset from Alter Reality Games. You know, you can click the link. It's there. I don't know. There's some link somewhere. But pick up your playset. You know, try it out, test it. It's going to be a good card, especially if you're playing a Prophecy or Fire Fist. I'd see where that goes. I think it's a really fun card too. Like, even if you're not going to get it off every game, it's just kind of fun. I mean, if you're playing in a YCS, you may want to test a bit more, see if it's that good. But just something to play around at regionals or locals. It's just really cool to get that off and see what happens. So I hope you guys enjoyed this segment. And yeah, let me know how it goes. Later, guys.